Test, two, shush, shush, shush. Uh, uh, what's my stream music doing? Is it playing? Okay, I hope it's not gonna get too loud. Okay, anyways, same place we left off yesterday. Not much difference here. Oh, I don't have the old stuff. Oh, I do have it here. Hello, Yugami. I think so. The problem with this is that I have no idea what to do. But the problem with that is that if I don't do it on stream, I also run away from it for a really long time, and everything else gets affected as a result. So it's a bit of a dilemma as to whether if I should be doing this on stream or not, if I'm being honest. So I am not sure, but in the meantime, I'm gonna try and put some ideas on the board. The problem here, I think, is again, it's a issue with not being very good at sort of knowing what to expect. Let's do 100 first. So the issue is that the main page is actually very cohesive. It has a very good theming going on, right? Because the art itself is turned down for the page to work, and as a result, everything looks more cohesive. But because of this jump over where we have to show the full thing, it ends up feeling like it's very sort of messy over here. Not this one. Rather, it will be this one here specifically, in here. But because so it's two opposing ideas, right? Either you want to show a portfolio or a list of your works. I'm gonna stop calling it portfolio because portfolio is meant to be more curated, whereas we're just dumping everything. But whether if either you're trying to show a list of your works and then you want to show it in its original form, or you're trying to establish this kind of sort of diegetic menu vibes where you're in the game or in the world of something, and everything sort of behaves consistently that way. And these two ideas, I think, inherently are opposing because this is about showing original form, which inherently will be very dissonant and very messy. Or you try to merge it together, in which case you're not showing it as an original form, and it defeats the purpose of having this list. So I'm at this point where I don't think I have a choice. I've been right yesterday when I dropped off, I was saying that there are different ways that I can try to alleviate this problem, right? So one way is to look at Arknights directly because we are kind of just referencing Arknights in the first place. And for that, if we look at Arknight stuff, you can kind of really get a vibe, right? Like the whole idea is that they kind of have just one very strong color that kind of carries through that vibe, no matter what piece or what characters are being displayed. There's always this very strong, specific shade of yellow, and everything else is gray. But if it's like a light gray or a dark gray, it doesn't matter, but it's just some kind of a gray. Um, yeah, and then in terms of UI elements, right? So this is the thing, right? So currently I'm basing off of what I have. Mine is just the default setting. Sorry, like one of the free ones. And this looks very cohesive. It looks very nice. That's kind of what I was trying to set up here, right? So we take a piece, we show it, and then we, in the behind it, we can like sort of blur it out and have a version of it that's bigger. And therefore, it sort of follows the same vibes. I'm going to NIX, I'm going to blur out the edges so that it follows this edge that is kind of blurred and lost. And you can also see the texture kind of going across. And this kind of also doesn't make sense in that like there's additional textures going over this piece, but we'll get to that later. That's one way of doing that. And then when the art itself swaps out, you can see that it's the same exact menu, but the highlights are just whatever is a good color for that piece that is trying to display. So this one will be blue, this one will be red, and so on and so forth. We could do something similar, but in this case here, this sort of idea, it does work, but it's also specifically for this part where you're showing one piece specifically in greater detail. So it's not quite like a portfolio kind of thing, where you show a list of everything. Anyways, I might be a little bit sort of incoherent here, as always. I'm going to try and set this up real quick. It's not difficult to do per se. I just have to kind of control the edges a bit. And I have my grid over here, so we can control the lines a little bit better. And of course, like in the final thing, all of these will be done programmatically. I don't have to do this by hand, ideally. Where's my pen? Oh, here. Not ideally, it's just a requirement. I wouldn't want to do this by hand because it's very inconsistent. Because of the way the brushes work, it's constantly spraying. So it is not great. I think maybe another way would be to actually... There's a little bit more consistent is that if I take this, I put it on top, I'm just going to disable this. And this one I'm just going to one color, reset the selection. I'm going to just Gaussian blur this guy instead. So blur, Gaussian blur. And I don't want to be too strong because it messes up the edges too much, but this is a bit more consistent, I think. Yes, Igami. Indeed. Yeah, this doesn't really work. It's not very strong. Maybe if I make this a little bit smaller proportionally. %. Sure. So it's kind of like what we have, except theirs is a bit more... They have sort of texture sort of spilling in from the side into the thing here, which makes it look a little bit better. And their outside is a little bit less noisy, but it depends. I don't think it's necessarily too bad. It should be on something like darken or something. No, it should be something like lighten actually. So it only appears on the part that's brighter. And then I'm going to up the value a little bit. Oh, I see. It's not quite strong enough. Because everything's pretty bright, I suppose. Yeah, I don't know. This is one way of showing this. The music is playing, right? It is kind of going up and down by a lot more than I expected to. I guess it goes other. But that's only for that. Alright, the more UI element I add, the less of the original I see. But given that I want to show some stats anyways on this page, I think it's probably fine. As long as I can fill up this space meaningfully. Separation is very strong. That being said, this one is just a straight clean line. So the other way would be to just take that out. But it doesn't stretch all the way top bottom either. So now there's a very clear border. I'm trying to see how I can not have such clear divisions and borders. But this edge here has to be here, right? Unless I show everything. Or I only show a snippet of it. But it doesn't make sense to show only a snippet. Even if I want to show stats and cannot have it cover the entire screen, it should maintain its original aspect ratio. Yeah, I think inherently it is at odds. Like, unless I design... so the only way that the sort of UI can stay consistent and be more apparent is that the art themselves is sort of designed for it to some extent. Kind of like the splash art of these Arknights pieces. It was designed to work with it. I think... So, obviously there might be a solution here that could satisfy me. Like, I don't know. But I think trying to find it might be a little bit too time consuming. And ideally, we can just find something okay-ish and then be done with it. I noticed that there's a border here. I didn't take the entire screen because I just wanted this part, which is the part that's relevant. But I think maybe there's another way to work with this because I'm seeing a very clear edge over here. Maybe I can have like a very clear edge around it. I wonder how that would look. And then like this one, there's like another gradient behind it. It'll be entirely self-contained. That's the definition of having a border. Well, I might as well give it a try. It's not like I like the current thing anyways. This one looks so good because the values and everything is contained, and like the art kind of goes all the way, right, top and bottom. But they fade out naturally, and this way as well. The silhouette of the character is the only silhouette here. It's the only separation here, right? So between the character and this part of the screen, there is no very clear hard edge border, not like a straight line. But like it's unavoidable here because like you want to show the art. So there is no way to sort of customize this part because then you would not be showing the art in its original form. I keep going over this point because I kind of hate how it is. Because fundamentally, this cannot be done, I think. So what is this? Crispy. At its very core, this is unavoidable. Which does mean that we kind of have to just take the L on this one, boys. Let me see. This guy? Alright. So I want to do what exactly? I want to... let's say here. I'm going to delete that. And this guy's going to get a little bit bigger. Of course, as usual, there's going to be an execution issue on the website itself, even if we can get something satisfying here. But we'll worry about that later. When we actually get there. goes on, it gets so heavy. Uh-huh. Can I trim the edges like this? Is there an option to feather the edges? I don't think so, right? Oops. That's my sub menu over there. But yeah, I guess most likely today I just be spending more time on this. Try out some ideas because like with a lot of these really difficult things, being on stream forces me to talk about it, and then I try to drill down to the very essence of what the issue is. Like in this case here, it is not necessarily about not having ideas, but just the fact that the requirements are different between the two different ways of doing it. So there is that, right? There's not much I can do about that. Or if we can find a way to target this specific issue, then we can move forward. But then there's another part of this is that some of these ideas have to be gotten out first. And then I can sit and think about it. If I never get it out of my system, we're not gonna move on to better ideas. So having some idea out here, I think, is probably the best way of doing this at this point. Where'd he go? What? I selected this part. I'm putting it on this guy. Oh, because it's purely behind, because I'm stupid. Thank you very much. Congratulations, Dum Dum. I got it though. Let me see. So yeah, if we can get the idea out at least, maybe I can iterate upon it. Yeah, the border becomes really clear, right? But now there's a very clear edge here. Do I want that? I thought the whole point is to not want it. I say as though I'm not the person who just did it, but I mean, the person that doesn't know what, probably the person that knows what I want the least in here. Yeah, there's a lot of reasons why this one worked so well. The one in the reference is because of the way that the comp is set up for the art in the first place. The borders are all kind of dark. They all kind of blend in very naturally. The lighting is very smack in the middle. Opens up in the top. Whereas we have these very high contrast areas near the edges, which draws a lot of attention to the edges. Which, as a result, therefore, is kind of like this silhouette here, right? It draws attention, but that is done in a way that is really good for the character. Whereas in this case, it's just a random ass border. It's not like there's anything too important along the edges. Not much I can do about that though, I don't think. As a result, there's a loss of control. Perhaps, but I mean... I mean, also theoretically, not theoretically, but like, So this focus is only on here, whereas everything else is kind of nicely faded out, and then we have random as UI elements to bring everything together. exact opposite we have over here, where there's a lot of colors everywhere. And we don't want to put random UI elements because it kind of makes things hard to see and interferes with this. But this is how it should be, though. This is how it has to be. Wait a second. Hang on. I actually have to start Arknights. I just want to check because there is that whole projector thing where we can select character art. I just realized I completely forgot about that because on that screen, whatever UI that they have for you to choose would be an interesting reference here. Simply because there is a huge variety of different pieces with different colors and different comps and different styles. That is precisely kind of the same setup we have. So far, at least, even for these guys, I guess there's quite a huge range of style here as well. Anyways, I also kind of want to get a full screen of this UI here to see what the UI for selecting this looked like. I kind of forgot what it looked like. I'm letting Arknight start up here. Locking my mouse again. Stop it. Right, yeah, because that fades out. There's no way to avoid this part, is there? My handy to just have floating elements on top. Original idea was to have it, yeah, like that. And they have elements on the side, but this is inherently more artistic than having a bunch of text. Oof. Okay, let me check out this stupid ass projector real quick. Right. Let me see. So this is the UI for this. You just kind of scroll. And then clicking on one, what does that do? Let me see. It just selects it, okay. And then if you open it up, it looks like this. This is the setup here. Left and right. Okay, okay, okay. So it does have that sort of framing inside. And then as for the other one, let me see. So it's over here. What? Uh-huh. And then change profile theme. Alright, doesn't work like that. Now I do this. Ooh. That's kind of, I suppose. That's very hard for me to do. It's very, very unlikely. Oof. The voices in my head would never let me live it down if I do that. Hmm. Hello, Devay. Early today, I see. the sky, you're the sky, blue stars, such a heaven. Such a heaven. Yes, thank you, Devane. Right, for it to stay consistent. Oh yeah, this has duvet written all over it. I feel like the vibes. Oh, I have seen this before. They've got that grotesque face with like very vibrant colors thing going on. I feel like your favorite artist. It will be... Yeah, I mean, good stuff, I guess. Like, this is color study territory. I won't be able to, yeah, yes, that artist. I won't be able to discern anything until I actually touch something like this. It's just way too complicated to get a feel for it just by looking. This is one of those that 100% it feels like if I do like I just see it and trying to analyze it and I'm like, oh yeah, that's it, right? Like, but then when I actually do a study, it's like, no, that's it's not what I thought. So all I can do right now is just appreciate the colors. Basically no lines though, dang. Or rather the lines are, I guess, basically the same color. Nothing that stands out. The faces are very disturbing though. I cannot. Oh, look at that. It's all faded together on this part. The faces give off like mask vibes, like kind of like what you might see in like a horror game or something. It's very uncanny for me. Not necessarily traditional or anything, just a mask. It doesn't look real, is the thing. It looks very uncanny. It looks artificial, made to be emulating human emotion. But there's just something off about it. And then it's very off-putting that way. Yes, thank you, Duvet. Didn't realize they have some environment stuff. Environments are nice. It's just the colors are all very grouped together towards one hue. That makes it very what exactly? I don't know what's a good word for this. But cohesive, definitely. Dang, do you feel the struggle with the hair? Holy shit, it's like 4 or 5 different attempts. I'll be stuck between feeling that it's too bland versus putting something there and feeling it's drawing too much attention. Yes, thank you, Duvet. It's back to my own struggles. To borrow this and figure out how big these buttons are. So if I do this screening. Yeah, it's a lot tinier than what I have. I'm gonna have to resize this correctly. These are smaller, okay. I thought they probably are, but I couldn't confirm it until now. Yeah. Why is it just this is smaller? I guess that's a sub bullet point or something? Only by 1 pixel. Yeah, indeed, right? Goo goo gaga. My god. Oh, sorry, it's a different set. What do you want? Arapo. Iranei. Okay. Beg and please say. normal, huh? Right, what if the focal point were on the left instead? Uh, so like what? Let's see. So if I lay out this way, I can leave space on the left. So we need to put metadata somewhere. We need to put like a title, at least like a date, or like a source, or something else about the piece of art that I want to put on screen. Actually, wait, hang on, because it depends on how much data I want to put, how much information I want to put. The UI might have to change. Because what happens when I can't fit it in? Like, if you have a long ass description, what's gonna happen to the UI here? But regardless, like if we want to show data here, it will have to be on this page somewhere. So either I can leave some space for it, so it will never overlap with anything. But the downside of that is that your art itself is smaller, and depending on the aspect ratio, like in this case, it's well, if it's a portrait, right, you're gonna have space anyways on the side, so that's fine. But if it's like a landscape like this, then you're just gonna use up a lot more space. Sorry, leave a lot more space unused along the borders. The other way would be to do this, and then have it display full, but then have it so that you can open up a menu, and then have more data be shown that way. Not sure where that button might be though. Hmm. Hmm? Did I remove that? I removed it. Right, it's more selective actually with the position. Yeah, it's too noisy. Where is my stuff actually? I forgot where I put it. Oh, I imagine it's probably in the. Let's see. It's not here. Where is it? Might have thrown it out. Whoops. Um. Probably got new. Right. Never mind then. I had a list of metadata for each individual piece, a JSON file, I think. It was never finalized. I think it got deleted at some point. Broski. Fix. I'm not logged in. Alright, never mind. Tagging. Oh, I see. Because usually on websites, it's like stuff like likes and views, right? Also, posted date. I don't want it to be like every other website because there's no point. What would be different for us? I don't really do titles, so it would just be description along with a date, I think, for us. And then in the future, there's gonna be a little bit more sort of debugging information with respect to the conditions by which it was drawn, and some of other information. But that will come down way down the line. Let me get some Lauren Ibsen then. One second. Uh-oh. How do you make this smaller? God damn it. This is resizing, right? If we don't know what's going to be behind. Right. Fade it out and have a box behind it, maybe? Log looks really boring. How do you get text here? Where in Arknights is there a lot of text? Database. This UI is consistent. Oh, oops. The weapon is the same setup. Oh. Same for other items. Okay. What about this? This is also items. So that is that. I think that's like an Intel place. Database is different. Archive, right? Archive is different. Oh, wait, hang on. Surely archive here can be helpful. Yeah, it's the same, right? These are the same. Probably not very useful. I'm gonna grab it anyways. And square is really boring, isn't it? But everything here is a square, so why is it not boring then? This is more junk. Kinda mid. Why is it so dark again? Because of you. Oh, wait. So it doesn't really matter. I see, I see, I see, I see. What? Am I selecting? I don't want it to be a different screen for information. This one we can technically delay a little bit because until we actually have information that I want to display, I don't really know how long or how much information there is. Planning for UI now, it would be not very smart because it's most likely not going to be able to account for stuff that I, well, don't have. Right now, primarily, is still the just here. What is this? Oh, which one is it? I see. doing anything. It doesn't work. What? Oh, because of you. I see. Hmm. Interesting. Right, the border side that is pushing it would push. Par for the course, is it not? Unless I custom craft. Like I'm looking at all these borders on the edges. I think yeah, there's no way to remove it. Well, there is a way to remove it, but it wouldn't make a lot of sense to do stuff like this. So we're gonna leave it. How much did I do just now? Oh, wait, hang on a second. How much did these guys? No, it's still way better than this, I think. I don't need this here. What is this? A card. Card idea is technically here. Let's just move that in there. Oh, this one is a bit more tricky because I cannot do it like this, I don't think. Because the colors would be too weird. So we need to mathematically, programmatically expand it just a little bit. Put on a very strong blur, but then only do it at this stage, and then we need to mathematically extend the colors across. Shit, how do I do this? Let's say I grab this part here. I'm just gonna pull it, right? Is this right? Well, I'm gonna do them this way. Might be too bright. Hmm. I don't need to put this on actually. I'll just lower the opacity of these guys actually. This is kind of backwards. Oh, but if they lower opacity, unless they're... Oh, okay, so this depends. Maybe this is still better because it'll be more cohesive this way. I see what the problem is. How come the edge is so strong here? It never seems to go away, whereas the other ones, the edges are gone. Oh, are they still there and just unable to perceive it for some reason? It's a lot better though. How does this work? What? This is barely being affected. That can't be right. I didn't do it manually, didn't I? No, I don't think. Okay, just gonna cut out more stuff, right? We already have enough interference with all the junk on the top and bottom. This background's also kind of sus. Yeah, something that ties the things together, which we do not have at this point. Yeah, we don't have any motifs. We don't have any designs. We don't have any in-game locations, worlds, symbols to fill in like the space in the back. Um, there are no portrait pieces either. Surely this does not make sense. Oh, okay, I see this. Oh, like so many intricacies and nuances, I think. So I first thing I was feeling like, so these guys, their borders feels a lot more sort of faded out properly. You don't really see the edges as much. And I don't know if I executed the transformation properly with the Gaussian blur, or I just used manual. I kind of forgot, or manually went over for airbrush on the clipping mask. But over here, the edges is a lot clearer. And we can use the airbrush to sort of fade it out to the same amount, but because of the size of this, there's a lot less pixels, right? There's a lot less area, so this border, to reach the same sort of fade out, is going to end up eating a lot of the image. Eating up a lot of the area there, so it doesn't really work. If it were this big instead, then that wouldn't have mattered too much. And barely noticeable, so it doesn't change anything for these guys. Idea that I'm entertaining right now is that for portrait we can have it zoomed in. The programming for this is going to be a pain in the ass because we have to be able to specify which part of the image to zoom in, rather than just always letting it zoom into the middle. But say we start off zoomed in, I think it's a bit awkward, because you're not going to expect it to be... How do I say this? You wouldn't know if it's landscape or portrait based off of the thumbnail, right? Because we're entering from this position here, so you wouldn't know. You would trust that as a user that it opens up to the correct scalings here, so this probably isn't allowed. This is really boring, but I think it is what it should be. So even Arknights themselves, right? Like you can see that there are some UI elements because they actually do need them as well. But like the bottom, like trim, and then the top trim and stuff like that, there's a bit of stuff in the background too. You can kind of just barely see some things overlaid in the back. They're all very minimal, right? Because the point is for the art itself to shine. So I think it makes sense that this screen is really boring, other than the art. You want just enough UI to sort of stay consistent between all the different pages, but then nothing more. The issue now is that the front and the back are not very consistent because of some of these choices. Let me see. Where's my grid? I just realized the grid looks a little bit too... I can't see it anymore. There you go. Oh, I see. It's done manually. Ah, that explains it. If there's no choice, there's no choice. The text and other stuff we can figure out later. There's still a little bit more intricacy with this because suppose we have multiple pieces in a series, right? It could be manga, it could be work in progress into sketch, into colored, sketch into render. For any reason, there might be relationship between different pieces. And so there's two ways to go about this. as I was discussing a while ago. But like one way is to not even just use this whatever that we have here, right? What we have here, this setup, is very much for viewing one picture at a time. So, and we want to keep it that way because most things are not going to be that have that relationship with other things. And even if it were to be in a series, you kind of still want to be able to view each one in full. So we want to keep this the way it is. But to show relationship and to make it easier for people to find different things that are related, one way is to use this current menu and have arrow keys so that each time we open something that is part of a series, it automatically pulls all the other things. And then you can navigate it that way. The downside of this is that it's not very intuitive unless you show something like a thumbnail, a series of thumbnails somewhere to imply that this is a series. And therefore, by pressing left and right arrow keys, you're not going to just go to the next or previous piece that you saw in the menu that you were just looking at before you got here. It'll be very confusing if you're clicking front like the arrow keys and you're not getting what you expected. So we would have to put in more UI for that if that were to be the case. The other way is that we just use the blogging part, because if you're showing things in a series, presumably it's more than just trying to show them in a series. Of course, this argument doesn't work for manga, because the manga in and of itself will have value by being shown in the series. But suppose you have work in progress and sketches and whatnot, then maybe you want to talk about it. Maybe you want to write some text to explain it. Then in which case, doing it in the blog would make more sense. But regardless, I think a series, huh? At this point, do I want to worry about this just yet? That's kind of the point of us doing this, though. If I don't do it now, I guess I have to do it eventually. Thereabouts, I think. And because this series thing is very selective, I think we're going to rely more on sort of user exploration eventually, if this thing is to be a thing, right? I'm not gonna have all these menus popped out or whatever. Because even if you want to put text, for example, say on top of this, even if you want to put text like this, for example, I'm not gonna have it open, I don't think. Or maybe I should just not have text here. If I want text, okay, let me think. How often would I want to write something about it is the thing. If it's not gonna be that often, then the page here should not be complicated at all. We just have image and that's it. And if we ever need to write any text, it would once again just be part of the blog. And then we just have a link from here to the blog instead. For the most part, most pieces that I've drawn, I don't have any comments per se. It's just the more recent ones where we are sort of doing studies and we're going through this journey of progressing through different difficulties. Then we kind of want to explain like some of the stuff that we've learned, or some of the difficulty that we're faced. But then if that's the case, that those get really long. Those get really long, and yeah, there's no guarantee that it will fit on this page. And we might have supporting information too. So for those ones, maybe blocks will make more sense instead. But what about somewhere in between, right? Let me see. We can at least have a caption. Oh, okay. That's a good idea, I think. So if it's a short caption, then it can just overlay somewhere. Okay. This makes more sense, I think. And then we have some metadata that's useful. For example, date. And then that's about it. Short caption, date. What else do we want? Let me see. Young, with a quick views. I wanna let loose. What else is there? Oh, music ended, I suppose. What do I want to do? Alright, series. I might keep the bottom line here that Arknights has. There are some UI elements that kind of have to go across everything, I think. So to show that it's the same page, I think this is definitely going to have to be one of them. Because there's not much else that you can really put across everything without it being too distracting. So this will have to be here. Whoops. Somewhere. I don't know why it's not visible. I know why it's not visible. Let me just push it on top then. Means these guys need to be a little bit smaller, I think. Why was this turned off, actually? I don't know. It's just gonna end up being a Arknight's copy at this point. There's a good start though, at least. Because the thumbnail, I was thinking we can just bump it to the top here, in the middle here. But now that I think about it, if this was a portrait instead, it's literally the only place that we probably shouldn't block, just because it's right there. Don't know what's a good spot just yet. Also, not to mention thumbnails, huh? But if I don't, I have to do thumbnails though, because inherently it's all visual based. Without thumbnails, yeah, navigation will be kind of a chore. It's like a gotcha almost. You don't know what's coming up. Series. Oh, we don't allow it, and anything that's truly in a series will have to be pushed to block, delegated to the block entirely. Because the only series that we have so far is like those sketches that we did before, and also these ones. Like these ones that go from this to there's like a few more that I don't think I have here. But they can just be done in the searching phase. So in the previous page with the portfolio itself, not portfolio, with the list of works itself, we'll just have the tagging be available here. But how will people know what the tag is though? That's a separate problem. But I think we can delegate the work to be done here. Maybe we use the number again. This also needs to allow zoom actually. I don't know how that will work. Maybe we'll just not allow zoom for now. At some point I have to add the zoom. Because if I do zoom, I don't know what happens to the background. I'm assuming we should treat everything as an entire whole. So we'll be zooming the entire div instead of zooming just the image, I guess. Where can I put the stuff? Yeah, that can be fixed once we leave the main page here. Oh, I also just realized this main page will only allow characters that face left, huh? Because there's no space on the right. Like, this wouldn't really fit. Not too well, anyways. I suppose it depends on scaling, but... Oh no, but this one looks good because this part is all character. There's like no gaps. If there's like gaps, like a giant gap here, because like say this part of the character is not touching the border, which it shouldn't, because if it does touch the border, it feels very tight. But if it doesn't touch the border, there will be this black space over here. It will force the character silhouette to be a lot more obvious, but I suppose if the value isn't that high, like the contrast isn't that high anyways, it's probably fine. But they would be like, we have this border on his side. Anyways, and then this might not be visible, if that's the case. You have to tailor select, tailor make this. And select a bunch of stuff that will work. Yeah, but glass is kind of hard to do because it depends on what's behind it. But that would probably be the idea anyways, right? Regardless. Or like over here. This line here cannot exist. Wait, can it exist here? It cannot go over the art. So if it were to exist, the art cannot be drawn that part. It cannot be rendered there. That means in reality, this is gonna be cut. Not to mention, I don't have a scroll here yet. But I don't want it, right? So like, maybe it is okay. Maybe you don't care about this. Let me see. If I flip this. Yeah, it's already off screen. Okay. It's because the black border is kind of messing me up. This border is not going to be there, right? Oh, I just realized the border here is affecting my perception. I need to remove this guy too. Right, no border is better, I think. Yeah, if people zoom, is it gonna go over or under the nonsense? You can't zoom art in Arknights, I don't think, right? This thing doesn't let you do it. Oh, it doesn't. Scrolling actually scrolls left and right. That's so weird. It doesn't scroll instantly either. The top doesn't have a gradient. Interesting. Not to mention the tilting. Well, I mean, this is kind of it for now. Until you can figure out the buttons. The buttons are gonna be very hard, I think. Pixel, slideshow. Why is it taking so long? The last thing would be this guy here, the text itself. So the current planning for art is going to take the full page, and any text and stuff will be sort of more of a collapsible menu idea. But for this one, wouldn't it be better if there's like a drop-down list on the side for a faster navigation? But why not for the other? But art is different, right? Art, you want to look at one thing. And one thing only at that point in time. And then by the time you don't want to look at it, you can just exit and go back to the list. But text, is there a need to be... This document almost feels more interesting to be able to have multiple tabs open. So you can kind of go back and forth. I don't know if that's going to be a useful feature. Because what I'm saying then is like these documents, each one is going to be a separate document. Would I ever need to have two of them open and go back and forth? No, but even then, like, but it would be pinned, right? But if it's pinned, it would be at the top. Ooh, yeah, it's really hard to tell how it will be used actually until we actually use it. So what does that mean? If we want to make it more coherent, yeah, I mean, if we want to make it more coherent, just put this div into this area here and then we're done. The background will be kind of plain, but it is what it is. It will work, and it would everything will be tied together at least. And depending on usage, I think we can figure out what we want to try next. And if it works, I guess it just works. Then we can divert our attention to something else. This doesn't make sense, does it? I realize why it doesn't feel so cohesive is because the border is very jarring, right? Whereas the other one kind of fades out a bit, but I don't think this is doable. They're just way too close. Yeah, it's more of an inversion at this rate because of the contrast here. Look into my eyes. fading onto the gray part. Let's do black and white. Oh. Because of how quiet it is. I mean, oh, it's because it's darker there, not because of anything else. Right. That's probably it for now. I think there are more ideas on the board at least. It's kind of hard to see. Mhm. Just that nothing feels very satisfying. Compromise is probably is not avoidable, but like it feels like we're compromising a lot. Two ideas are inherently not reconcilable, I think. Probably. Anyway, this will be it for this for now, I think. It'll take a while to distill out. Right now, I can't tell. It's a bit heavy. I'm gonna get the time lapse out. Actually, I don't know how long. Okay, hopefully it doesn't take too long. The last time I exported this, it took a good 15 minutes to wait for it. Okay, it's a lot faster this time. The file's getting too big, I think. Did I forget something? Oh, I have the color here on top. Animated the screen? Oh, because I was flashing it. It's all very hard. Oh my god. Oh yeah, like when you watch time lapse and then like they people change the eyes and it looks like they're blinking or something. Very interesting. Yeah, all of these things are quite hard. We are definitely a little bit too overextended, I think, because a lot of these they all kind of are related. They're all kind of related to world building and whatnot. Maybe not like, I don't think like most people when they think of world building, they're thinking of like making websites or designing and this and that. Maybe some designing, but like yeah, I think it's all relevant for what I want to do. I don't know for sure, but I feel like either way we have to try and do it. It's just that currently, because there's a lot of things going in parallel, and they all inherently kind of don't go in the same direction. Like what I'm trying to sort of focus on for each one is different, right? Animation will be the movement and the fluidity of that. The design will be about the vibes from the UI elements and how things react and play together. And I need a UI that's consistent, that works across many different pieces of images. Whereas over here, we're trying to deal with color and vibes in this way. And it's just a lot of stuff at the same time. And I feel like it's kind of hard to make things satisfying. But it could just be because I couldn't do it either way. It could be because I am a little bit distracted because of each thing. I don't know, honestly. But how I'm feeling right now is I'm not necessarily overwhelmed by the work, but I'm overwhelmed by the variety of the work. It's just that there's a large variety of stuff going on, and as a result, I don't feel like I'm really satisfied with any of them. I don't know if it's because I'm working on a bunch of stuff, or if it's just because each individual one is not up to standard anyways. But well, I'm looking at this one right now, and the colors are kind of okay. They're just okay. They're not great, but at the same time, I don't know what great is either. I don't know where I should target for this greatness that I'm looking for. At least right now, it's decently fine. And we have most of the colors worked out, so at least we can proceed. By the way, George, it's okay. You don't have to listen to me talk about stupid shit. I'm just trying to work out my my emotions right now because it's a bit overwhelming in the variety sense, and I'm learning. I'm trying to figure out how to frame my mindset here. It's very confusing. On one hand, I want to push everything to its limits, which I think I am, which I think we are at. I'm just not that satisfied with it, I suppose. Right, on one hand, I want to go all the way. On the other hand, I think a good amount of compromise is required. I'm not very good at compromising on some of these things. Because inherently, doing your best to me means you don't compromise. You do everything until it makes sense, but there are limits to this. Yeah, it kind of sucks, because Lego Mia does Lego, right? We've talked about compromise a lot of times, but in Lego, your compromise is very strict because your building blocks are defined. You can't do anything else. I mean, you could print Lego blocks, I suppose, custom shapes and custom things, but at that point, it's not Lego anymore. It's still blocky, it's still like the same idea, but it's no longer Lego in the sense that it's not official anymore. And maybe it doesn't matter. But like, if you want to stay true to the Lego, then you have to compromise by only using the blocks that they have. And compromise on resolution, compromise on certain details. But art is a lot more open-ended. Anyways. Let me think, right? So currently websites, the analysis engine requires a bit more attention for looking at the scripts and understanding the math. That part is just a lot of reading and understanding. The website, we're currently stuck on design, but we have an idea, we have a direction. And worst case scenario, Arknight's copy is not a bad idea either. Things always start with a study anyways. So if we can at least capture the vibe of Arknights, right? We are already learning a lot. Because we are learning what Arknight's UI design, what makes it Arknights, what makes it give it that industrial sci-fi edge, like vibes. Which I already have a much better understanding between yesterday and today, grinding it out. A lot of it has to do with the way that they're using gradients and the balance of details and the type of details and stuff like that. Because for us, in a sense, we're kind of copying. In a sense, we're just doing a study. But we're also not doing a study in the traditional sense, because a study requires you to do exactly the same thing. We're trying to do as similar as possible, but we have to make it work for a lot of different pieces of art. And different requirements, like having portrait instead of only ever having landscape art. So we are making good progress on that side. It's just that I don't have a vision, so it feels like I'm very lost. And you don't know, you know, how much longer you have to spend, how much more time and how much further you have to go. But at least we're making good progress. And then there's this one here, where the color is in an okay spot. It's not necessarily what I envisioned because I was never really clear on that either. So since it is okay, we should just push through the rest of the pipeline. And then use this experience, just use this as a more of like a figure out the pipeline and the workflow kind of thing. Then there's the animation, which just requires more manual work. That one is probably the easiest one to understand, the scope of, and just to proceed. All I have to do is just continue lining this, and we're good. This one also kind of hard. Like the wings, I never really figured out the exact shape. And the feathers themselves. It has to be kept consistent across all the frames. And it's like, a lot more work still here. I know we got all the lines to be very jiggly in the original, but now I'm wondering if I should might as well just keep it the same because wait, didn't I make the lines jiggly for like the hair and all the other things? Did I turn it off or did I not do that? I mean, I don't think I turned anything off. What is this? What is up with my layers, man? What's all this? Oh, those are the lines. Okay, so those are the final lines, and then here is the... Right, I took it out for the hair, okay. Oh man, I'm tired. Because at work, I'm also dealing with some very tedious shit. I made like a couple thousand changes, like 4,000 or 5,000 changes to the code by hand. This is a huge major refactor. Everything right now is kind of very tedious. Animation is tedious. This scope is very big, so it becomes very tedious because it takes a while. Design is very new, and we're trying to push through the limits. The analysis engine requires a lot of reading. A lot of reading and understanding of the math. Because I need to know the math in order to figure out if it makes sense for what we want to do. Then I can... I'll just get the AI to code it, but I still need to know the math. To see how things work out. I did the same layer for the hair. Yeah, I can't remember, but I don't think the hair is animated anyway, right? Oh, it should be animated though. Right, let's see. This one actually is quite tricky. Because like the hair, for example, there should be movement when the wings are making such a big movement, right? There should be movement on the hair. But if you want to do hair movement, every single strand of hair here should have been drawn separately first. So that when it moves, every strand moves individually and we are just drawing the outline for the final lines. So I do kind of need... okay, originally we didn't have anything in the rough anyways. So that's fine. But what I'm saying is that we have to go from this line back into a rough so that we can use that rough to actually do the animation and then go back into line based on what the rough positioning is for every single frame. But we'll worry about that later. We can do at least some simple things like drawing the eyes. The problem now is how should I approach this? Because like, let me think. We have a bunch of animation folders here with different frames. So I feel like logically it would mean that these guys will go in and start replacing the ones that we've already done. So, but what is there a problem down the line? If I want to change something, well, presumably we're not gonna change much anymore. This is fixed, right? This is it. At least the initial set here should be fine now. I can't think of anything right off the bat. So like this would be turned off. And then I'll just move the body line down now. Speaking of which, I don't actually remember if I did this correctly in that... Is it always the same position? Did I split the layers correctly? Very sus. Okay, yeah. I see the difficulty here because of the yeah, okay, I'll figure this out. Because it's not like the rough right now is very tight, right? The rough only delivered the idea. But once the thin lines go in, you're defining a very specific form. So between the frames, between this frame and the next frame, you have to make sure that the volume of the form and the form itself is maintained, but also having that movement. So if I want to draw the next frame here, I can do this and see the position for this frame, but see the form from the previous frame, which is the correct reference. So I'll have to draw something in this frame following the shape, but keeping the volume and form from the previous. That's gonna be quite difficult. That's why people use vectors, because then you start just peeking, pushing stuff around, instead of having to redraw lines. So that would be interesting. I thought I didn't have to use vectors after when we were doing the first set of lines, because it didn't feel too difficult. But the first set of lines is probably the easier set, as easy as it gets, because wait, there's nothing to stay consistent to. It is the first piece. I think clothing is interesting. Clothing I might just turn off for now because it's on the body frame at this point. This is what I was talking about. I didn't think I split this correctly yet. But if we keep the body the same lines, we actually don't have to draw the lines there anymore. Because body and hair, yeah, body doesn't move. Clothing doesn't move too much. It will move a little bit, but we can ignore it for now. So I can just keep it outside for now, so that it's just always there. Hair, I don't really mind. I think it doesn't matter too much here. Oh, I see. Because hair, I never actually did the thing. I thought I did, huh? Weird. I wonder if I lost progress on this by accident. It's very different from what I thought it was going to be. Okay. Okay, broski, sure. Oh, which one did I draw actually? Did I draw 3? Yeah, I drew 3. But this one is the one that goes. Does this count or not? I think animation doesn't quite count towards the final goal as much right now. I see that this is gonna take a long time actually. Wait, no, wait, hang on, what? This is separated. What? Why is my body layer then? Oh, it is separated. Okay, never mind, I was stupid. Broski. What is face? Face is eyes. Oh. Dang, there sure is a lot of layers. This is probably a one-off thing, honestly. Looking at how difficult the animation is, especially if you want to make it like this. Although, to be fair, this might actually be slightly more difficult than if everything was just on one layer, since we have to contend with this mess of a setup here. Kinda ironic. What happened to my body? Oh, because it's set up to be flickering, I think. Okay, wait. I'm just gonna dupe it for now. What? Oh, I turned it off. I'm stupid. Hang on. Probably get an epilepsy watching this. Hang on, let me see. Yeah, okay, let's just keep it constant for now. Is there a better way to do it? Actually. Oh, it doesn't show like this. Okay. See, I don't have a choice then. Oh wait, but if this is actually... Hang on, if this were color, the jiggle doesn't come from the border, does it? It will come from the light that's inside. Oh. I think it's no surprise that like working on the same thing for a really long time makes you kind of burnt out. Because there's like two kinds of burnt out. One is just being more like actually tired, I think. That's the one that happens to me more often. But then now with these projects dragging out this long, it is getting a little bit more tedious as we're going along here. For sure. So this is the true sense of burnout, because things are just like not as interesting. It's not necessarily because you're tired, but rather more like tired of doing that thing. If that makes sense. Maybe I will just jiggle the borders a bit more. I think it's fine for now. I don't really feel like it makes a lot of sense. I feel like there should be light inside the eyes there is jiggling or something. Hey? Oh, don't leave. Right, so the border should not change, right, is what I'm saying. So this should just bring over. Yeah, like just the lighting is the one that's moving. This makes more sense, I think. How did I draw the lines here actually? What pen did I use? This feels like it, but it also doesn't... Oh, I know, it's probably is it this guy? This looks like this guy. Anyways, this is a bit better. It's, the eyes themselves don't move. Okay. Oh, this makes so much more sense. Alright, so now the issue is I need to draw stuff that is consistent. How do I do this, actually? The onion layers are supposed to be helpful, but the next one is... No, the previous one... Oh, I see. Because I have the colors enabled. If I do it like this, it's a bit easier to see, but it's kind of a mess. Holy shit. Usually you just see the frame before and after, and then you're drawing the current one. But because the current one also has like the blue thing, it's very overwhelming. Also, is this the pen? The weighting feels different, but this is the only one that I can think of. This is way too consistent to have been the pen, so it must be this. Nothing else has this nonsense, because the other ones are... Could it be this one? It could have been. Oh no, it couldn't. It doesn't have like those tiny dots. It doesn't have nearly as many. Is it this pen? Alright, whatever. It looks close enough, I think. It's probably fine. Oh, okay, so this is another argument for using vectors, honestly. Because if they were all vectored, I could have just adjusted them into place, I think. The only reason why I can't do it now is because the anti-alias turned off lines. These non-anti-alias lines, or rather alias lines, are going to be very obvious. Because they're going to be blurred out. Sorry, not very obvious. They're just going to be blurred. And it's very obvious that you use the transform. The line weights are different though, for sure. The line weights is... This doesn't feel right. But this has width, right? This is way thin there. Yeah, this has to have width. Just got thinner. Cannot see anything. Ah, I see it somewhere here. These guys need to be kept consistent if possible. Not possible. Right, but the other line is there. But we are closing eyes, right? So the bottom eyelid does come up a bit. Right, and I didn't really map out all these tip movements. So likely they're not going to be consistent, I think. Not right off the bat, for sure. So a lot of fixing. Oh yeah, the position between this and this and this and this opened up a lot already. I guess it's too fast to see. What? Oh, I see. This border went down though. Oh man. Okay, at this rate, I'm guaranteeing that this is gonna be taken off the plate for now. This is I do believe in the original planning, this was just meant to be more of a, what was it called? Like just a change of palette whenever we feel like it. Not necessarily trying to force it to be over. Just don't have enough time to dedicate to everything at this point. This is what is being requested. Right? Maybe I should just follow the rough for now. It's not doing what I think it should, but make it natural. It's probably not worth drawing. There's gonna be a lateral transition here, so it's probably fine to just do this. But you can't quite tell what it's supposed to be. Very hard to see. I think this makes sense. Why is there a line here? What is that? Oh, I accidentally left it in there. The eyebrow should have more deformation. It shouldn't be consistent like that, but like it used to. Wow. Possibility. When I was young, I was so hungry. Oh. I forgot to change that. Whoops. Take me back when I was younger. Would it be the same frame actually? Wouldn't it just be the same frame with a different eye position? The forest view. Forever again. Walking along the same street. Yep, yep. Yeah, the eye is so much bigger on this side, huh? And I'm saying that this worked? Because I checked the rough and the rough looked fine, right? Huh. This doesn't seem right, but yeah, it does. Younger. Two-headed. Yeehaw. I was younger. I was so hungry. Whoa. The world is still dying from. Yeah. Oh, I just realized the music and then. It was you. It was you.はい。あ、同じかい。Yeah, if only this was vector. Huh? This doesn't work. Although. Wait a second. If I keep it as this and then turn it to the thing, it doesn't change, does it? Surely it doesn't, right? No, as much as I don't think I can use it, I kind of have to. Use the transform too, I mean. Oh, we never finish this. Maybe this eye is the one that's weird. This one. The fact that the line, the bottom is here now. Yeah, this should have been longer. But this angle is going up. Yeah, huh. It's like a 2D versus 3D thing. It's probably not consistent in 3D, but 2D, they both kind of look fine. Or maybe I'm just wrong. And it doesn't look fine. It looks fine to me at this point. Not even warmed up for lines. I kind of hit this line. Holy shit, what? The irony that is that no matter what I do, as long as it's art related, they actually are all style development. Every single thing that we have done so far, even though they all seem very disjointed and not that related. Because my own preferences come through every single time, one way or another, and from that, I can extrapolate and figure out what is it that I want. What is the difference? What's the difference here? 6 and 6A. Oops. Just the eyebrows and the mouth, I guess. Oops. What? Where did the mouth go? What? Did I draw it? Okay, I'm stupid. I drew it on the rough. It likes some life, I think. I feel like the rough is the... It's just like a huge skill gap between going from rough into this and still maintaining the same vibes. Oh boy. Not impossible to do, but just a lot of back and forth, for sure. I think I'll officially take this off my plate for now. The main target is still going to be the websites and the really complex one. The complex one we're gonna push into. We're just gonna start. I'm gonna propagate the colors down to the corresponding layers and parts. Then I'm going to put in the shape for the light. I don't know if there will be any gradients on the light layer itself, but there will be gradients on the base color part. Actually, there'll probably be more rendering too. I'm not really sure how far we can go with rendering that. Probably best not to do any until I can figure out the After Effects. So once I propagate the layers down, we can hop into After Effects, I think. And then the websites, we just proceed slowly. Hopefully, surely. And then we'll see if we can get everything done by the end of the month. That would be nice. I think that's a more realistic timeline here. Anyways. I'll probably hop off here. It never... Yeah. It doesn't feel like it, right? Like when I'm envisioning the stuff that I want to do, I can see the end. I can see what I want roughly at the end. And then I can always see the steps, I think, of going from point A to point B. At least, like, I don't know if it's necessarily the best set of steps, but I always can find a set of steps to try and do. But I guess I am not very good at estimating the time that is required and effort that's required. But yeah, regardless, thank you guys for coming. I'll see you guys tomorrow, I think. If I have any idea for the website, I'll try again. If I don't, it will just I'll just do the art thing instead. Anyways, thank you guys for coming. Have a good night, guys. See you guys tomorrow. Thank you, George.